And due to the population of identity, I decided to become a cartoon hyena. So this is YouTube. It's kind of hot in here. Anyways, hello, I am D.A. You probably know me for my drawing videos or my playthroughs, which I gotta say, if you haven't watched them, that's fine. And I am here to explain something. You see, when I was younger, I also tried to find videos of what is an artist, what's the mindset of an artist. And then I realized there was no videos on it. Nobody talks about how to be an artist. So I decided, why not be the first person to make a video of this? Hello, this is D.A. once more, and I am going to tell you what it takes to be an artist. Now, you're probably thinking, why am I in front of a golf course? Now you're probably thinking, why am I in front of a tennis course? I would like to know that also.
What is an artist?
Well, an artist is many things, but someone who creates perspective. What is perspective? Perspective is the way you observe. Now, the idea of perspective, you have to obtain the thought of visual, emotional, and experience. Because in order to have perspective, you have to acquire these three traits. For this example, I am going to use Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess's Midna as the three examples of perspective. Now, here we go. In our first encounter with Midna, we find her ominous, selfish, and cares not for our well-being as a being. With the visual traits additional to her description so far, she's as dark as shadow, with one of her eyes being covered and the next eye piercing red, which occasionally in the cutscenes emphasizing her many sinister gazes towards the flame. So, from our experience so far in the beginning part of the story of Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, visually, she looks like she could play a really good villain. No one in the Legend of Zelda history seems to look like this character, from my knowledge. She's not a Zora, she's not a Goron. From what all this points out, I don't even think she's from Hyrule. So far, emotionally, we feel uneased by her presence. We clearly have no emotion for this character. I would also like to mention, the exchangement for our freedom 3 or 2 times is in her favor. Therefore, she owns us. And I'm not just saying that because we turned to a dog from most of the story. Which I gotta say, those, please, oh! However, as the story progresses, and the sacrifices and examples of Link and Princess Zelda preventing Midna's end, we get to know the truth about Midna's past, eventually. I'm not going to spoil her too much on this one. Which puts a different light towards her earlier reasoning, and the forceful attitude she had towards Link. She thinks we're a little selfish, you know, all that stuff, I guess, yada yada. So at this point of the story, once we figure out Midna's past, after the sages talked about it, and after Midna's told us little by little the truth, which I gotta say, the writers are great at this, because the pacing of the story is one of my top favorite parts of Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. I always used that for a bedtime story at one point. I always played it before sleeping. Anyway, so at this point of the story, we see that she was a leader. She was the princess of the Twilight. Sorry for the spoiler alert. So emotionally now, after hearing about the Twilight, after hearing why we have to find a Fused Shadow, after hearing that we gotta find the mirror shards, we pity on the circumstances she embraces on the journey. At the same time, our experience with Midna later on, it gets better. We work better as a team. We understand each other as characters. As far as I'm concerned, I can actually say she's probably one of Link's best friends just due to that one adventure. In conclusion, from our perspective with Midna as an example, we learn about experience with her. We learn about the visuals. The visuals also play a very big part in Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. Emotionally, she was actually a character. I am not kidding when I say I didn't like her at first. She freaked me out. I had no idea what she was. I didn't know her motives. As the story went on, Midna's character became more and more appealing to me. She is the main character in some weird way. Like Link and Zelda probably played a part of her story or something. So, as an artist, Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess is one of the best examples for perspective. I would like to get more in depth with the different mindsets of being an artist. I've written them right here. It requires perspective, questioning, self and expression, share, deep thinking, objects, alone, and exception. I would like to get more in depth with perspective. But for the time being, this is my video, and I am signing off. Right now. part one of my artist video is. Wait a minute. How do you get off of a video? No one ever told me that. Oh, maybe it's this one. Oops.